God.
I don't think you can count in Spanish.
A hook is a sentence in the introduction that is used to grab the reader's attention and make them want to read more. You write a hook by getting a topic that is in the story and expanding on it to make it interesting for the reader. It's usually the first sentence of the intro paragraph. Like an example is, did you know sharks can swim forwards but not side to side or backwards? A thematic statement is a statement that expresses the theme. They can be served as a thesis in a thematic statement or a thematic essay. A thesis is a statement/theory that is put forward as a premise to be maintained or proven.
The way to start a new paragraph is by transitioning the ideas from the book and into 5 or more sentences. You have to use concrete details in the paragraphs. Concrete details are facts found from the book or movie to help you support your paragraph. There are 3 types of sentences that you have to use in each paragraph. The first one is called the simple sentence. This consists of only one clause. The second one is you have to write is called a compound sentence. The compound sentence consists of 2 or more clauses. The third one is the complex sentence. The complex sentence has at least 1 clause or more. The way to end the paragraph is to add the big idea about the paragraph in the very end.
The things that make up a good conclusion are when you don't introduce any new topics into your essay, you sum up everything you've already written and the main points, and you leave the reader with an interesting new perspective. So what you don't want to do is restate the thesis. You want to stress the importance of the thesis, show and explain why your essay was important, and don't repeat any information that you've already written. You also want to leave the reader with an interesting thought in your conclusion, so you give them something to think about, and you also show why your paper is important in the real world. So some strategies for writing a good conclusion are echoing the introduction, and that brings your reader full circle, and you start and end with the same scenario. This shows that your essay was cohesive, and it helps them in understanding that the information that you gave them was important. So one example is this here. And the next idea for a conclusion is challenging the reader. And this gets your reader thinking, and it lets them apply their new information in their real lives. That example is this one. The last one of the 2 is looking towards the future, which helps the reader apply information and think globally about the information that they've just learned. The last strategy is posing questions, and that provides a perspective that may not have been gained otherwise without them reading your conclusion.
Literary present involves verbs in the present tense when discussing the language and use the past tense when discussing historical events and fictional events. Literary present is used in essays, novels, plays, poems. An example, this article discusses, this book gives a detailed view on, this article describes. Third person is writing from the third person point of view and uses pronouns like he, she, it, or they. An example, Tim slammed the door. He walked upstairs and read a note from Shay. He kicked her trash can and started crying. Subject-verb agreement includes matching the subject with the correct form of verb, which means when making a sentence, the subject and verb must agree. An example, a can of lima beans sits on the shelf. The verb sit agrees with the subject can, not with beans. Another example, the woman who went to a meeting were bored. The verb were agrees with the subject, woman, not with meeting. Comma splice is the use of a comma to join, which is a clause that can stand itself as a simple sentence. Independent clause is a clause that can stand alone as a sentence. It expresses a complete thought. An example, lazy students drive. Students is a subject and wine is a verb. Another example, my dog loves pizza crust. The dog is a subject and loves is a verb. Semicolons is a punctuation mark, is used to join 2 independent clauses in a sentence. Also, semicolons show the ideas in 2 clauses are related. Do not capitalize words after a semicolon. Example, incorrect. I am here, you are over there. Correct. Example, I am here, you are over there. Use a semicolon before such words and terms as namely, however, therefore, and that is. An example, bring any two items, however, sleeping bags and tents are in short supply. Avoid a semicolon when a dependent clause comes before an independent clause. An example, incorrect, although they tried, they failed. Correct, although they tried, they failed. Pronoun number agreement refers back to a noun that appeared previously in the text or conversation. An incorrect example is Laro's company will have their annual picnic next week. A correct example, Laro's company will have its annual picnic next week. Fragments is a group of words that begins with a capital letter and ends with a period, question mark, or exclamation point, but is grammatically incomplete. Sentence must contain a subject and verb. An example of fragment, I couldn't fall asleep although I was tired. A correct fragment is, although I was tired, I couldn't fall asleep. Another fragment, I bought a 16-pound turkey, which wasn't enough. A correct fragment, I bought a 16-pound turkey, which wasn't enough food. Also known as sentence fragment, a verbless sentence, minor sentence, errors in a punctuation. An example, Alice is busy tonight working sentence on her French essay. Correct sentence fragment, Alice is busy tonight working on her French essay. Positive, active voice. In active sentence, subject is active and the verb performs the action. Example, the cow. Subject is eating, verb grass. Object. Passive voice and passive sentences, the subject is no longer active or the subject is acted upon the verb. An example, the grass. Subject is being the verb by the cow, an object.
MLA formatting is a style most commonly used to write papers and cite sources. MLA formatting has guidelines. You have to use white 8.5 inch by 11 paper, 1 inch margins on top, bottom, and sides. Indent the first word in every paragraph. You indent set off quotations 1 inch from the left margin. You have to use easy to read fonts. Has to be 12-point size letters. Double space the entire research paper / works cited paper. After every punctuation, you make 1 space unless your instructor tells you to make it 2 spaces, and you have to have a title page. If you're making a research essay or PowerPoint, then you have to have a works cited paragraph / slide explaining where you got the information, when the information was published, and who wrote the article.